Today, we're diving into a truly epic philosophical showdown, one that's been preserved for thousands of years in the Pali text called the Assalāyanasutta. It's an incredible story.
At the heart of it, we've got this brilliant young prodigy. This kid is a superstar scholar, an absolute master of the sacred texts. And he's been groomed to be the ultimate defender of his tradition. And his mission? Well, it's a huge one. He's been sent to publicly challenge the radical teachings of a new philosopher who was, quite literally, shaking the very foundations of society.
And the entire debate, as you're about to see, really boils down to this one single, incredibly powerful question.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in ancient Savatthi, and about 500 of the most prominent Brahmins are they're getting pretty concerned. The Buddha is out there teaching something called Chatuvāning Sujji, which basically means the purity of all four social classes. This was a huge deal, a completely radical idea that suggested anyone from any class could achieve spiritual purity. And that, of course, was a direct shot at the Brahmins' exclusive claims. So they knew they had to do something. They needed a champion, their absolute best, and they chose Assalāyana. This kid is only 16, but he's already a master of the 3 Vedas, the most sacred scriptures and all the sciences that go with them. He was, without a doubt, their star player.
But here's the thing. Assalāyana wasn't so sure. He actually hesitated. He knew that arguing against a Dhammavadi, someone who speaks the truth, it's a really, really tough job. Maybe even an impossible one. But despite his doubts, the pressure was on, and he had to accept the challenge.
All right, so the stage is set. Assalāyana goes to the Buddha, and he lays out the argument he's been sent to defend, the official, orthodox position on why some people are just born better than others. He lays out the 5 key points of the Brahmin thesis, that Brahmins are the superior class, the light or pure class, that only Brahmins can be truly pure, and that they are the legitimate sons of God, born from his mouth. Everyone else? Inferior. This is the core belief system that the Buddha is about to take apart piece by piece. Now this is where it gets so brilliant. Instead of just making a counter-argument or shouting back, the Buddha starts asking a series of really simple logical questions. He's just going to lead Assalāyana down a path, step by step. First up, he challenges the whole idea that this 4-part caste system is some kind of universal truth. He asks, hey, what about in those lands to the northwest? Haven't you heard that over there are really only 2 classes, master and slave, and that a master can become a slave and a slave can become a master? And Assalāyana has to admit, yeah, he's heard that. Okay, so if the caste system isn't universal across space, what about across morality? The Buddha pivots to something everyone understood, karma. He asks this absolutely crucial question: does the law of cause and effect play favorites? And again, Assalāyana is trapped by logic. He has to admit that yes, the results of your actions apply to everyone equally. If a warrior or a merchant does good things, they get a good rebirth. And if a Brahmin does evil things, they get a bad rebirth, just like anyone else. There's just no way around it. And this is such a critical point. The moral law of the universe is impartial. It doesn't check your birth certificate before deciding the consequences of your actions. And that right there completely undermines the whole idea that one group could have some kind of inherent purity. But the Buddha saves his most powerful argument for last. And it comes in the form of this beautiful, simple analogy that anyone can understand. He talks about the nature of fire. He asks Assalāyana to imagine 2 fires. The first one is started by a high-caste Brahmin, and he's using expensive, fragrant sandalwood. The second fire is started by someone from the lowest class, and he's using just plain old wood, maybe scavenged from a dog's feeding trough. The question is, will the fire itself be any different? And of course, the answer is obvious. Assalāyana has to concede, sabopi aji achima. All fire has flame. The heat, the light, the color of the flame, it's all exactly the same. It doesn't matter where the wood came from. Fire is just fire. And that is devastating for the Brahmin's claim, because the implication is crystal clear. Just like fire, our inner potential, the potential for wisdom, for goodness, for purity, that inner flame, it's inherent in all of us, not just in one group that was lucky enough to be born into the right family. So after being walked through this inescapable logic from geography to morality and finally to the very nature of an element like fire, what can the brilliant young debater even say? There's nothing left.
The text gives us this incredible image. It says he was tunhi buto mankubuto, silent and dismayed. You can just picture him, shoulders slumped, looking down, completely and utterly defeated by the simple clarity of the Buddha's argument.
And with Assalāyana now silent, the Buddha adds one final, deeper layer. He tells a story about another sage who challenged the Brahmins with an even tougher question. Can you really prove your lineage is perfectly pure for 7 generations back? More than that, do you even know the nature of the consciousness that entered your mother's womb to become you in the first place? This idea of the Gandharva, the stream of consciousness looking for a rebirth, it introduces a fundamental mystery right at the heart of the Brahmin's claim. If you don't even know the ultimate origin of the consciousness that is you, how on earth can you be so certain about your inherent status from birth?
So let's just recap this masterful argument. He started with the observable world, showing caste isn't universal. Then he appealed to a universal law, karma, to show it applies to everyone. He used a simple analogy from nature, fire, to show that essence isn't tied to origin. And finally, he exposed the unprovable assumption at the very heart of their claim: you can't truly know your ultimate origin.
So what's the end result of all this? The brilliant champion, the kid sent to destroy the Buddha's argument, instead sees the profound truth in his words. He asks the Buddha to accept him as a lay follower, right then and there, for the rest of his life. And so this ancient debate leaves us with the very same question the Buddha posed more than 2,500 years ago, a question that's just as powerful and relevant for all of us today. What is it that truly defines who we are? Is it the circumstances of our birth, or is it the choices we make and the actions we take?